What do you get when you cross a know-it-all newspaper columnist with an awkward, unsophisticated everyman?
Yeah. Well, I'm just not sure about that right now.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube.
Welcome to Couch and the Rube. Graham Couch, Jason Nick. Couch and the Rube presented by Skyman Premium Cannabis with outstanding deals right now for their 12 days of holiday bliss going on. Go to skymint.com, get the latest special, and as always, you can use the Couch and the Rube promo code Couch and Rube 20 for 20% off. And our midweek show presented by our friends at Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub. That's on East Saginaw in Lansing, near the Lansing and East Lansing border. Outstanding place for lunch, for happy hour, and, of course, to watch a game. And they, again, are doing holiday meal kits. So if you don't want to cook for the holidays, let Cask & Company in Front 43 do a special meal for you and your family and look like you did something special without doing all the work. Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. How was signing day and pissing people off on Twitter?
Is that constantly. What I did? Is that what I did?
Yeah. You were pissing people off.
Okay. Let me explain to you what happens. And by the way, we're going to talk a lot of signing day. We're going to get into it, and I'm fully on board now. And Colton Pouncy from The Athletic is going to join us, and we're going to get into all this.
He's going to tell us about all these guys, right? 'Cause I'm not going to lie, I have no idea.
I know about some of them,
right? But
here's what happens to me, and I do figure this out. And I talked through this a little bit today with a buddy, who's a fellow sports writer. Most of the year, I feel like I am sort of in line with Michigan State's fan base. Like what matters to me, I feel like usually matters to them, and it works well. It works well for me. And I feel like I don't know if I'm an expert, but I'm a somewhat of an authority on the matter. I have decent access. I have opinions. I've covered this for a long time. I've grown up around here, and I've got confidence in it. Signing day rolls around, just football signing day. I like hoops, once a year. Couple things happen. One, I don't enjoy it that much. It is a big deal to a lot of people. I get that it's a big deal for the program. It's not as big a deal for me. So it's the only time all year that I'm not really in lockstep
so
with
let's
the
get
people
on Twitter
I'm writing
and be
for.
Snarky.
So
that's what it's about.
I handle it like a 3-year-old. And then the other thing that happens is I'm not really coming at it from a position of authority, because to be in a position of authority on recruiting, you kind of got to really pay attention year round.
Yes.
And I'm never going to do that. Number one, I don't have time to do that. Nobody who covers the beat the way we do and tells you can know certain stories. You can know who the guys are. You can know.
You have to be a recruiting person.
Yes.
And that's solely it.
Yes. There's no way to do both jobs well, and you wouldn't want me to do both jobs, and I never would. I'd leave the business. I'd rather do just about anything in this world.
Wow.
But that said, I understand that it's a big deal, but because all of a sudden I lose my place, sort of as a on the beat a little bit, and I don't enjoy it. And so all my instincts from the rest of the year, like I'll give you an example. After a basketball game, I will think, here's the story. Like this I'm thinking matters to me. This is what I think readers are interested in. And usually we're in lockstep. And that's what I do well. And that's, I hope, or at least
you think. Are you giving your credentials on the show to let people know?
I'm just saying, and when it comes to signing day, it's the one day I'm like, fuck, I just take a vacation day.
You still had fun with it today.
I did
right?
have fun with it. I have fun by being snarky.
Keontae Goodwin stuff was fun all day, and pushing it back, pulling a Graham Couch. Oh yeah, the show will be at 3. Actually, it'll be at 5. It'll be around 5.
Yeah, Keontae Goodwin is very much in lockstep with Couch and the Rube. He gets it. He gets.
He had a tough decision.
He did.
Talk sports.
And frankly, I think a kid should take all the time they need. And he obviously chose Kentucky. And so Michigan State doesn't get the 5-star kid. They didn't get the receiver in Texas either. But they had a pretty good day. And I do recognize it's a huge day. This is the talent acquisition portion of college football, which is a mammoth part of it. And it's a big reason that Mel Tucker was hired, was to up their recruiting, was to try to get them at a level that they've never been and be able to sustain it, right? I mean, this is essentially what happens in recruiting and on signing day is a large part of why Mel Tucker is making $9.5 million annually. And so I get it. It is significant. And I think it was a pretty good day overall for Michigan State. Like there are still more steps to be taken. Eventually, you're going to have to be a top 10 class and get a couple 5 stars annually if you're going to make $9.5 million, if you're going to truly take the next step, if you're going to be going toe-to-toe with Ohio State as Ohio State looks right now annually, right? But if you look at this class this year, which is about a top 20 class, which I think when we've talked previously about where Mel Tucker needed to be sort of on the trajectory, we talked about that. Top 25, top 20 class, this first full recruiting year would be pretty good. Would be about where you want to be.
Right.
They've got
be in the mix for some 5 stars. I mean, almost flipping a kid that was going to Kentucky since 7th grade, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fact that it took him all day to think about it is impressive. But.
Yeah, and you've got 5 4 stars, which is a pretty good class. I mean, this class rates, other than the 2016 class, which D'Antonio had that was, spectacular, and then sort of.
But with that money that you mentioned, though, Graham, you have to sprinkle in a 5-star here and there, though.
Well,
right?
eventually you do. Yeah. But on the trajectory of where you need to be, I mean, this is as good as any D'Antonio on paper, as good as any D'Antonio class ever, other than 2016, and it's up there with, like, if you look at the 2010 class, which was, I think, the class that I consider D'Antonio's best. Right? It's it's a 5-star, it's 4 4 stars. And then it's 3 stars named Le'Veon Bell, Darqueze Dennard, and Jeremy Langford. That's a pretty good class. And like that, I mean, I think when you listen to Mel Tucker, they talk about they're not hunting stars. Like when you listen to, one thing I've learned about listening to coaches on signing day is I can hear the bullshit. And I can sometimes hear who's a project and who really is going to play right away and who they're really high on. And it's real subtle reading the tea leaves, so to speak. But you can tell when they talk about, the kid that they flipped from Virginia Tech as a safety being the Malcolm Jones being among the more physical players he's seen on tape hitting in the last 5 or 6 years. You can hear when he talks about kids being let me find another one that was really good. But you can hear it with the wiggle and the speed. You can hear it with the when he talks about, you can hear it in the tone a lot. There are guys that you can tell, boy, I'm excited to have this guy on campus, and you can hear that in his voice. And there are a number of those guys. Tyler Henry's the guy I'm thinking of. He obviously likes Antonio Gates Jr., who's I think they did real well at the receiver position on paper. And so I think this was a really good day for Michigan State. The other thing is he had 4 transfers, and the thing he's done in the transfer portal is to allow them to win while he builds, right? Like that was a thing that you just couldn't do previously before the transfer portal. And he's done he did in year 1, and you look at the needs they've addressed in year 2, especially with Chris Bogle, the kid from the defensive end from Florida. They need defensive end help. The ability to continue to win at a certain level while you build is what you want to do. But I don't think you get to the big winning. I don't think you get to the place where you ultimately want to be until you're also winning on signing day. I wrote a column about a lot of this that's going to be up probably tonight. We're recording this Wednesday night on at lsj.com. And one of the things, I think this is what MSU fans wanted, though. You could feel the buzz online today. It was different than the end of the D'Antonio era, right? It was just signing day.
It was mostly because of Keontae Goodwin, though, and him pushing his.
No doubt.
But that was the big fish, right?
But fans were living on the edge a little bit. They want to be part of the excitement. They want to be part of the hope. They want to live. They want to be waiting on the whims of a mammoth-sized teenager, right? And that's the stuff they've missed. And
if you tweet at a kid, if he didn't pick your school, you should be banned from Twitter.
Oh yeah, instantly
blocked,
and probably curb stomped. Well, that's a little rough.
It is a little rough,
but you know what I mean. Don't do it.
I know.
Don't.
But I just thought it was a little weird. Good when all of a sudden showing up and going, I have no announcement, because I wasn't really familiar with the situation, and obviously it's always good to have a quick response on Twitter when you have no idea of the situation. But anyway, I don't know. There was chips on a table and a bunch of kids were acknowledged there in a giant purple. I thought it was just for him, the purple.
No, there's a lot of
there.
kids. He agreed to be part of this, and he didn't have an answer. Like, it's somebody who's struggled with decisions between two places a lot of times in his life. Like, I said yes to 4 different little newspapers coming out of college.
Did you pick a hat?
No, but you're not. But I learned from Cedric Irvin, by the way, who picked 6 when he chose Michigan State. No, but I actually had a professor who told me, until you go at this stage, it's about you. And there was lots of reasons for it, and I was struggling with the decision. I ultimately made the right decision, going to Freeport, Illinois, meeting a couple of my best friends, led to a lot of other things. But I turned down the Lansing State Journal job originally. I didn't know whether to stay at M Live or not. I liked it at M Live. I liked parts of it, not all of it. I liked some of it, and they offered me some more money, and I liked being loyal to them, and I didn't know if I wanted to come and do a whole nother city and all that stuff, and I didn't know if I wanted to come home, and I struggled with that decision. And I struggled partly because I was rushed initially into the decision, and I turned down the Lansing State Journal. And so those sort of things, like, I mean, I think anybody in life who's been through, especially if you're 17 years old, a big decision. I mean, you need time. Like, just because somebody tells you to show up somewhere and we're going to do a whole ceremony, that doesn't mean you've made the decision.
With the treatment that I saw him get, Goodwin that is, at Michigan State, I do not blame these kids at all for stretching this out as far as possible, because you get your ass kissed and treated well and all that stuff. So I totally get it. But some of these announcements are absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What are you going to do? It's a 17-year-old kid, well, actually, these freshmen these days are 19. So it's a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah. Hey, it could be worse. He could be Mike Norvell in Florida State.
Losing the top player in the country to Jackson State.
Throwing your hat down on video. Yeah.
It's not great. But, in the Deion.
When are Jackson State games on? I just remember them being on at a weird. Did they play at a different time? Like, when can I watch them?
Well, they played in the spring last year and then the fall. But they'll be on more now. And they're on a little bit. I've seen them here and there with Deion coaching.
Right.
We'll see how long he's actually there. And there's a huge NIL deal, and that's another part of this. And I didn't even write about this today, but Mel Tucker got into that. Like, that is something these players ask about now. It is important that Michigan State stays out front in that. All right, we are gonna have Colton Pouncy from The Athletic join us. We want to just give him a call. We'll stay right here. A reminder also, if with Front 43 and Cask and Company, if you're looking for a place this weekend for games, I'm telling you right now, I'm headed there tomorrow for a late lunch to watch soccer, and it's a great place for lunch. Underrated outdoor patio, and one of the best television setups that I've ever seen. And I was sitting there with a friend a couple years ago, and just said this place would be a perfect fit for Couch of the Rube, and what because I wanted places that I thought we could sell based on our truly good experiences, and that's been the case with Skymint. That's been the case with Cask and Company in Front 43. That's just north of Frandor on East Saginaw in Lansing. All right, it is time to be joined by our friend Colton Pouncy from The Athletic, who does an awesome job covering Michigan State football and now basketball for The Athletic, and does a better job of covering recruiting than me by a long way, and is certainly more plugged in on that front. So, Colton, how you doing, man?
I'm tired, man. I'm exhausted. This day feels like it started way earlier than it should have. They had this recruiting event in Texas that was like a black tie event at like 7 a.m. So I've been up since then, and I'm glad it's winding down. I'll just say that.
See, this is the difference between me and Colton. I slept in until 8:30, and then started and then played some catch up. Scheduled some stuff. But no, I enjoy reading your coverage on all this stuff, and I'm curious your sort of big picture final thoughts on this day. Whereas I think Michigan State had a good day. It could have been a great day, but a pretty good day for what's essentially the first full recruiting class for Mel Tucker when they were able to go into homes and benefit a little bit from the winning that happened and really sort of sink their teeth into a class.
Yeah, I think for me, you got to go back to the beginning of the year. I was doing like my predictions I do every January, and I said I think a good recruiting class for Michigan State this year would be top 25. after, they finished like 43rd or 44th last year. No in-person recruiting. My whole philosophy was if you can get to top 25, you can go to 6-6, sell some of that progress. It's going to be a good year. And like everything, they've kind of exceeded those expectations this year. They win 10 games. I think they're hovering around top 20-ish recruiting class right now. Again, could have been better, but all things considered, considering like recruiting didn't really open up until June. They've been doing this for about 6 months with this specific class. A lot of the players that they're going after had previously established relationships, like Kentucky recruiting Keontae Goodwin until, since he was like 12 years old. So, all things considered, I think it's a pretty strong class. You got 5 4-stars and some dudes with the frames that they like along the offensive line, defensive line, a couple of big body tight ends. So, yeah, I think it's a good class. I think people should. My whole thing is like if you were high on this class going into the day and you're, discouraged by them falling a few spots in the rankings, then like you have no reason to be mad, in my opinion, because it's the same class. They've added a few more guys and, you missed out on the high-end guys, but, that's going to happen from time to time when you're in those recruiting battles. So, yeah, I think it's a strong class, and I don't really think people should have a reason to be upset by it.
They're going to miss out on a lot more high-end guys. They're also hopefully, I think what they're thinking is they're going to get some of these guys eventually. But if you're going to play at this level, this is new for Michigan State, or at least for the last few years. Being in these battles with 5-star kids and stuff like that on signing day, and you're going to get your heart broken once in a while. I'm wondering, like, one of the things that I always enjoy on signing day, and having covered about 15 of these at a couple different programs, is there are lots of words you hear repeatedly, right? You hear guys who are the edge guy. You hear about it factor. You hear about, you hear all sorts of different terms that sort of live on. But you sort of learn when a coach likes a guy maybe more than his recruiting profile, and you can kind of hear it in the tone. I'm wondering who you think Mel Tucker is really excited about out of this class.
Yeah, one of the guys that caught my attention today was Caleb Coley, who is he's a 3-star cornerback out of Georgia, who committed today. I've been saying that I think his film is probably, similar to most 4-stars out there. He has great closing speed. He breaks on the ball in an instant. Really physical dude. Like, he's throwing his body at receivers and knocking them out of bounds. Like, that's the type of cornerback that Michigan State wants. You see a guy like Chuck Brantley who doesn't have the size, but he's got the heart for sure. And I think Coley's a similar dude like that. Mel's talking about his personality, so you're going to love this kid. Was kind of mentioning him a little bit. I think there are a lot of guys that you can kind of point to with this class. Malik Spencer's another guy, Georgia, DB. I think he's going to fit in as kind of this chess piece on defense. You can put him at safety, you can put him at nickel, and he just seems like a playmaker. And I know Mel's been pretty high on him. I think some of these other dudes like obviously Caton Hauser, quarterback, who's an Elite 11 guy. Mel talked about him and said he has the it factor, which, you hear a lot of the times. But a guy like him, like, his story is very unique, where he was kind of like a smaller quarterback and had to grow into his body and was an under-recruited guy and, basically moved to California during a pandemic just to get, some more offers and some more attention out there, and ends up transferring to one of the best high schools in the country without a promised job. And he goes there and he, battles it out with another highly rated, 4-star 2023 quarterback and kind of splits that job and, gets the attention he was looking for, goes to Elite 11, lights that up, and ultimately goes to Michigan State. So that's a guy that they like in terms of, just battling out and not being complacent where you are and always trying to get better. So you see guys like that kind of, sprinkled throughout the class. And again, this is his first real class, getting to recruit some of these guys in person and getting to know their personalities. Last year he called that class the Zoom babies.
Yeah.
This class is really his first one kind of getting to know their personality. So I think he's high on most of these dudes, but I agree. You can definitely hear it in his voice a little bit when he's talking about some of these guys.
And you brought up the next class. I do think 2023. This is the first class. I think it's fair to judge him a little bit. But I think 2023 is where you really start. Okay, that's coming off a 10-2 year. You've really had a full go at kids, so to speak. And I think next year, and I think he expects them to be in on more high end kids. I'm like Antonio Gates Jr. Obviously, I think will be. I always like kids. One of the terms I love when coaches say is wiggle, and that's Tyler Henry. I want to see. Anytime a coach says a kid's got wiggle, because I have no wiggle. I've never had wiggle. I always want to see wiggle, because wiggle to me means return game. That's what I hear when I hear wiggle. I mean, I hear punt returner, exciting in that regard. But sorry, back to the 2023 thing. I mean, to you, is that next year becomes a year where sort of the expectations of the trajectory, based on his salary, based on the reasons he was brought in, based on, I think his own confidence in himself, the idea that they could be pushing for a top 10 class, is that realistic to expect?
I don't know about top 10. I think natural progression would probably say top 15, though.
Yeah.
And you look at where this class was. If they had gotten Goodwin, they'd probably be right outside that mix this year alone. And that's, when most of these guys, I think all but 3 or 4 of these kids committed to Michigan State before the season even started. Like, they're committing off of a 2-5 season. I mean, you're talking about most of the 4 stars and all those guys in this class. Like, they were bought in and sold on the vision that Mel Tucker was selling them off of a 2-5 year where they looked pretty bad. So I think that's why I asked him today, like, what do you think about, where you could be with 2023 coming off of a 10-win season? They spent the past couple of weeks kind of going all over the country, and I don't know if they could have in-person contact with a lot of the 2023 kids yet, but definitely getting in with their high school coaches and, making their presence felt around their schools and, just leaving an impression on those kids when their time comes. That's what you got to do. Like, recruiting starts basically 3 classes ahead of time. It doesn't just start that next cycle. So if you're not talking to those dudes and at least, texting and calling when you can and whatever's allowed at that time, you're going to be an afterthought because someone else is already there. So that's why I asked him today, how do you feel about that class? And he's very confident that his staff will be able to get the job done with some of those guys. He said they're going to be in a lot more battles and longer in those battles, not just like a quick offer, quick conversation, move on to the next guy because I'm going to Alabama. He expects to be in these battles going forward, and a 10-win season gives you that edge, gives you that, brand awareness that you need to go into the South, to go into Georgia and try to compete for more of those high-end talent guys. So, I think he seems pretty confident about that. And anytime you go 10 wins and you get a chance to go down there for the Peach Bowl, I think you're going to leave an impression.
Yeah, the Georgia thing is interesting because it's not that it's unexpected. He's got recruiting roots there, and he talked today about the relationships, and you've written about this and the idea that Georgia's the new Ohio for them. And I've covered coaches where you can tell where they go where they're comfortable and when they think, especially early on, because that's where they think they can get the highest end talent, where they have the relationships, where they know it's fertile. I'm curious to see how that spreads out a little bit over time. But I don't think the Georgia thing is going anywhere unless for some reason, we've seen with a couple programs, Michigan had a class with a lot of kids from down there that didn't work out because a lot of kids are a long way from home. Unless they start getting that sort of deal, I don't think the Georgia thing's going to stop anytime soon.
No, and I don't either. And I think Mel Tucker's, he's smart to go into Georgia because, one, he has the connections there. He's coached in the SEC. He's coached at Georgia. He's got a lot of guys on staff that have done the same. Saeed Khalif spent some time at Georgia Tech. William Piegler and Jay Johnson were at Georgia with Mel Tucker for a little bit there. I know Tavares Tillman was at Georgia, but they're going to have to replace him now. So the staff does have a lot of connections down there, and they plan on using them. And I think when you look at Georgia, I was looking at it the other day, and I think the 31st ranked prospect in Georgia would be the 10th best prospect in the state of Michigan.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that kind of gives, just based on the composite rankings, that kind of gives you an idea of the talent you're dealing with. And, Georgia's not going to get every player down there. Alabama's not going to get every player down there. There's going to be some misses. So I think when you look at what D'Antonio did with Ohio, where the guys that maybe Notre Dame and Ohio State weren't getting, he would go in there and say, look, you're a high-end 3-star guy that, maybe the top schools aren't going for you, but come here and play your heart out, and we'll win some Big Ten championships. And I think Mel's kind of doing the same thing and using Georgia and his connections that were previously established to try to get some of those guys to Michigan State. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's a pretty big Michigan State base in the Atlanta area, so I'm sure he's probably tapping into that as well. So, it's a smart tactic on his end, I think.
Yeah, and they've had some success. I mean, I think Harlan Barnett has some connections. They've had some success recruiting down there, not like this, but with some key guys over time. So to the quarterback position, though, this is interesting. There have been some pieces written about this now where because of the way the transfer world works, it is very hard to develop quarterbacks and have them be patient especially when they're highly rated. I think Michigan State has a pretty decent thing going between the timeline of Peyton Thorne and Caton Hauser, certainly, because Hauser would, in theory, have if Peyton Thorne does 2 more years, Hauser would have 3 years after that, which is almost ideal for a quarterback, right? You redshirt, you have a year where you're the backup or whatever. I wonder though, how what happens to those guys in between, and how this is going to look in college football. What is your sense? I mean, I think the days of having sort of a line of quarterbacks behind your guy are over.
Yeah, I totally agree. The next man up thing is gone, which is going to be interesting because, like you mentioned, Thorne has at least 2 years. I think he might have a third even with the COVID year.
Yeah.
He just finished his redshirt sophomore year, so he would have redshirt junior and redshirt senior just off of regular eligibility alone, and then the extra year if he wants it. Honestly, like he might be just trying to play himself to the NFL. Might not even need that third year. I'm not sure if he's an NFL quarterback, but you never know. Maybe he can develop into that down the road. But let's say he's here for 2 more years. You have Caton coming in. He'll redshirt in 2022, be a redshirt freshman in 2023. And then if Peyton's gone after that, he'd be a redshirt sophomore ready to start and take over, kind of like Peyton this year. So at that point, you got to figure out, okay, how do we feel about Hamp Fay? Noah Kim's been around. He's a 2020 guy. He's kind of like the middleman, the last D'Antonio recruit at quarterback, like right before the new staff came in with Hamp Fay and some of those guys they were going after. So I'm not really sure where he stands. And Hamp, I think they like him a lot. He was kind of a lower recruited guy, but I think he's got a big arm and can do some things. So I'm not sure where he factors in, but I think when you're looking at that, you can kind of look at Ohio State and see they're dealing with some of the same issues where we got C.J. Stroud who's balling out. We got a guy like Quinn Ewers who comes in a year earlier than expected, and he gets impatient. He transferred to Texas, after not starting for a year and not being promised the job next year because C.J.'s coming back. If he had stuck to his original timeline of 2022, he'd basically be a redshirt freshman by the time C.J.'s off the NFL, and he could start then. But people are impatient. Kids are impatient. They want to start right away, or at least like their first, second year, and that leads to some issues. So I don't really think it's a Michigan State thing, but I do agree with the days of, okay, we got a quarterback in every class, and he's going to have his own time here. You can't really look at it that way anymore.
Wanted to ask you your thoughts on the 4 transfers who came in today. Today, the Florida defensive end was the last addition to that. And obviously, if they're bringing, and I thought Mel Tucker had some interesting answers today about how they evaluate these kids and how quickly you have to do it. Like the difference between NFL free agency, you know the date of free agency is beginning, he talked about in the NFL, whereas with transfers, it can be random. A guy here you didn't expect, now you have to evaluate him. Now you have to see if he's better than the guy you're recruiting out of high school, if he's better than the guy you guys have in your own program, if he can help you. You have to make that evaluation quickly, and then you also have to recruit him. It's something they've done pretty well. Of these 4 guys, who are you most high on?
I like Jacoby Whitman a lot, the linebacker from UNLV. I just like guys who are productive at the previous schools. He had 119 tackles this past season. Obviously, not the same competition as Big Ten, but I think you look at him and some of the skill sets, a lot of it translates. He's a good coverage linebacker. I'm not sure Michigan State had that this season. He's got quick feet. He has a trainer out there that really helps him and kind of break down his footwork and technique and everything. And you can kind of see on some of those practice videos that he puts out there. So I think, he's kind of a plug-and-play guy. I'm very high on him. I thought he's probably the best pickup they've got. But really, like all these pieces that they brought in, like Chris Bogle today, he's a defensive end. It seems like Florida wasn't really using him the way that he should have been used. He's a former top 70 overall prospect. Probably should have been started as a defensive end from the very beginning, but they're kind of playing him at linebacker and having him drop into coverage at times, and that's really not his strong suit. Just let him put his hand on the line of scrimmage and go after the quarterback. I think that's what Michigan State's going to do with him coming in. Aaron Brule, he's another guy from Mississippi State. I think at one point had maybe a day 2 draft grade based off of his 2019 or 2020 tape. So he's a good player, and I think a lot of these guys are going to come and expect him to start. I'm not really sure it's going to shake out because especially these 2 linebackers, they have Cal Halliday and Quavaris Crouch, and then Brule and Winman are probably all going to be vying to start, so that would be interesting. And then Jalen Berger from Wisconsin, he's coming in. Anytime you can get a former top 150 back, I know he's had some issues over there, but a lot of Wisconsin connections on staff, so they probably feel good about that. And he's still got some untapped potential. I didn't think he was the best running back on that team this past season. I think he got passed up by the 17-year-old back that they have there, but he's still a productive player. And if I had to guess, he'd probably be in line for a starting job at Michigan State. So between those 4 pickups, those are all high-end talent additions based on the rankings that they have. So, pretty good job at Michigan State. They're doing the same thing they wanted to do last year, and they're kind of continuing this transfer portal trend.
No, I'm impressed because it's you didn't used to be able to win as you rebuilt, and the way they use the portal allows you to kind of do that until your young guys are there. You can read Colton's stuff at The Athletic. You know how I feel about his work in The Athletic and the reasons I think you should subscribe. Colton, I'm looking forward to having you on the basketball beat. It gets a lot better than this, man. No more signing days for a little while.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. We'll definitely catch up with the game. Appreciate
you, man. I'll talk to you soon.
For sure.
That's Colton Pouncy from The Athletic. Been a great addition to the beat, not just work-wise. I mean, he does quality stuff, but personality-wise, enjoy having him around. Anything you take from that, Jason?
When you guys were talking about the quarterbacks and will there be a guy that's a quarterback that's willing to wait it out or wait? I know that quarterbacks do. They can get injured, obviously, but are you going to transfer just because at the first sight of not being able to play, are these guys going to at least try to feel it out for a season, right?
So what's going to be very interesting is you're going to have a lot of first of all, there are only so many spots, right? Like you can't have everybody transferring. There are only so many spots,
right?
Only so many starting spots. So eventually the market, I think, with the quarterback position, some kids will realize I need to be a little patient here. And not every kid is like Quinn Ewers who thinks they're, God's gift at quarterback and you need to start right away. But you will see fewer kids willing to, if they feel like they're being squeezed out and over-recruited and they're, behind another kid, you'll see fewer kids willing to wait. I think you'll see better kids at the Division I AA or FCS level. Like that's where Theo Day went. You saw what Rocky Lombardi did. You'll see kids who are like, okay, I'll go there and play. I need to play. And you'll see some more of that. It'll be interesting to see what happens at MSU. The ability to play 4 games and still redshirt, I think, is going to be important there because you might get a quarterback who comes in and you'd like to redshirt him and he winds up as your backup, but he has to play a game or 2 because of an injury or something like that, and you're able to still do that. So I think there's some
it's just wild that the complete landscape of college football is changing.
It's totally different.
Big time.
And the name, image, and likeness thing is going to be wild because that's part of what – I know that the kid who wound up at Jackson State was talking about all the history and the HBCUs and all that, and that's great. And I'm not saying that some of that's not genuine, but
the money's good.
The money's good too. That's a big part of it. So, and it'll be interesting to watch.
For $1.5 million, I'd talk about a lot of things.
Boy, yeah. Ooh. You might even leave this show for $1.5 million.
Easy.
Yeah. Without question. I think it was a good day for Michigan State. I've been a part of signing days there where I thought, boy, there's just no energy here. And it's not that they didn't have some good kids in those classes, but you just kind of didn't feel like they were competing with the top programs. And I didn't leave today with that sense, even though they didn't get all the top kids they wanted. And it was a class to me on paper that's very similar to the 2010 class. And if you wind up with that class was incredible. Now, D'Antonio and his staff in their prime, the way they were identifying kids, they were competing for high-level kids. They were getting some of them, and they were identifying 3-star kids that were outstanding. And so we'll see if this staff identifies kids at the same level. But, there's nothing – I don't think anything happened today that should suggest that this staff and Tucker can't get it done. He's still got work to do. Like this, when you're making $9.5 million, I don't think 5 4-stars can be your ceiling. I just don't. There was
what about at $4.5 million? Is that all right then?
Then it's okay.
Oh, okay.
If Mark D'Antonio had put together, to me, a top 20 class like this every single year with 5 4-stars, he'd still be the coach. And so what happened, though, is they went,
some coaches stop recruiting.
What I'm saying with Tucker, what they're trying to do now And the 2016 thing hastened that exit. I mean, that was his attempt to become Clemson, to do something else. It went horribly wrong. It hurt relationships in Detroit because of the Curtis Blackwell thing. It was their attempt to have something, and it just didn't work. And there, for a number of reasons, and some of them, one of them specifically in terms of who they recruited was D'Antonio's fault. But when you're brought in to try to do something that's never been done, and then when you show some signs that you might be the guy, and they give you $95 million over 10 years, they're expecting today can't be the ceiling. Today is fine on the trajectory.
Right.
It just can't be the ceiling.
But that was a figure that had to be paid to keep Tucker there. That's why I don't know why the 9.5 has to be brought up every time we talk about every single situation.
It probably shouldn't be.
Because he is a coach that should be making $4.5 million, but he's making that because Michigan State wanted him to stay.
And he has an air about him, though, that makes you believe that he is far from his recruiting ceiling. And there is evidence early. I mean, I think this is a really promising class. And it's his first real class. I don't think that and this is on par with the best of the D'Antonio classes. I don't think there's anything that happened today that suggests that Michigan State won't get there. Would have it been great if they get the 6'8", 325-pound, 5-star offensive lineman? Absolutely. That's always good. And eventually you need to get some of those kids in every class if you're going to compete with Ohio State. But I don't think anything that happened today puts them in the wrong direction or is a red flag to go, wait a second, I thought this is what he was going to be able to do. I think everything is still on the right trajectory. All right, we're going to take a really quick break. When we come back, Harry Gagnon will pick the bowl games. We'll do our can't miss parlays. We'll do it all. We'll do it live. Couch in the Rube, presented by Skymint Premium Cannabis and Front 43 and Cask & Company.
Where else can you cheer on your team, enjoy a mouth-watering burger or savory sushi, sip on handcrafted cocktails, or one of 46 beers on tap? Take your game day or date night to Cask & Company Kitchen, Bar, or Front 43 Neighborhood Pub near Frandor. Two amazing places with one awesome blended modern American-Asian menu. Catch the game on one of 30 60-inch TVs or stop in for the all-you-can-eat lunch buffet. Enjoy happy hour or elevate your night out at Cask & Company or Front 43 on East Saginaw in Lansing. Firekeepers Online Casino and Sportsbook is the site to play. Get your Vegas on right now from your phone, tablet, or laptop. All the hottest slots and tables, plus sports betting featuring in-game wagering. Download the app at firekeeperscasino.com. Go with the name you know. Firekeepers. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 or older and located in Michigan. Gambling problem? Call the Michigan Problem Gambling Helpline at 1-800-270-7117. Wherever you are on your cannabis journey, let Skymint Premium Cannabis be your guide, your friend, and your place. Whether you're curious about cannabis or a seasoned connoisseur, Skymint's knowledgeable staff will help you with a vast selection of products to choose from to fit your needs. Skymint believes access to the best cannabis helps people do good and feel good, so they grow it right here in Michigan, giving you high-quality, locally grown cannabis at highly accessible prices. Visit skymint.com for special offers and location information throughout Michigan, and use the promo code CouchAndRube20 for 20% off your first visit. Skymint Cannabis. You'll love this place.
Find Couch in the Rube podcasts on Spreaker, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Google Podcasts, CastBox, and the Rube's favorite, Podcast Addict.
Couch in the Rube, presented by our good friends at Cask & Company Kitchen and Bar and Front 43 Neighborhood Pub, as well as Skymint Premium Cannabis. It is time now to pick the games presented by Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app. Join Firekeepers Casino and Sportsbook now. Make your first deposit and receive up to $500 in iCredits. And if you make your first wager, they will match it with a free bet up to $500. Download the Firekeepers iCasino and Sportsbook app today. It is time now for our good friend Harry Gagnon from the Against All Odds podcasts, extrapoints.com and Best Bet Corner. Harry, how you doing, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? Graham, what makes me think that Jason's having every single one of his relatives sign up for this account so he can get on board with that $500 free bet?
Hey, take it easy. Don't ruin my plan. By the way, Harry had an 11-course meal and had a cheeseburger after the 11-course meal.
Yeah. I did.
So you have someone, Graham, that can actually out-eat you, which I never thought was possible, but Harry can hammer it.
I never doubted Harry in that.
I understand, but still, it's impressive when you hear that.
Got to be honest, though. The 11-course meal, though, everything, all 11 items were the size of my pinky, though, and I have small hands. So
that
in
technically,
fairness, I was still hungry, so I had a cheeseburger. Yeah.
Oh, it was one of those fancy meals where they give you just one little piece of sushi.
Way overpriced because we were staying there, and then you're like, I'm still starving. One of those.
The first time this gives you a little window into my life with my wife. The first time she ever wanted to split, we go out and split a meal is what she would say.
Right.
I thought that meant we each order something and we split it, both of them. And that sounded fantastic to me. We get two things. We both get to try them both. She meant get one entree for two people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, Harry, but I have this complex where I'm always worried there's not going to be enough food.
Sure. Oh, I'm right there with you.
And it drives me nuts. I struggle. I mean, I put on a good front and I eat the one entree, but I go home and Raccoon Grand comes out after I get into some Skyman after she goes to bed, and that's
nice. Listen, I'm right there with you. That's exact. With my girlfriend, we tried to doing the same thing, and then like I don't want to be like too bad. So like if I say goodnight to her and she passes, then that's when I'm hitting the fridge right after.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. It's yeah. And
what a scene.
Yeah, no.
It's a scene, man. It's a scene.
Look, how many times have you taken out the garbage so she won't see what you've eaten the night before? I've done that a few times.
That's fantastic.
All right.
She can't roll over and see what's happening. She has to look at the garbage.
Well,
pulling a George Costanza and eating out of the trash.
Exactly. I've never gone that far, but I have had to go to the store at midnight and replace something I realized I wasn't supposed to eat before that I've eaten the whole thing of. All right. One of the things I want to do is go through the bowl games. Right, the bowl games start this week.
I want to play some music behind it.
Let's give us some real.
Yeah.
There we go.
Some Christmas music. Not copyrighted, so we get kicked off.
All right. So I want to go through the bowl. We're not going to go through all the bowl games. That would be a lot. But I want to go through some of these that I think would be interesting to people or have interesting lines to gamble starting this weekend with the Cure Bowl. The Rocky Lombardi, Northern Illinois is a 10-point underdog against Coastal Carolina in Orlando. The Mid-American Conference has been pretty bad a lot of times in bowl games, and Coastal Carolina has had a pretty good track record of late. There's a lot of points. I still like Coastal Carolina better than I do Northern Illinois right now in the Fighting Lombardis. Give me Coastal Carolina. Jason, where are you?
This is a part of my parlay, so I'm going to be Herb Street on this one, but I'm still going to take Coastal Carolina in the 10 the hook. What do you got here?
Yeah, I am too. They've lost twice this year, but by a total of 5 points. 7 of the 10 wins have been by double digits. I'm taking Coastal Carolina as well.
All right, I want to be on Northern Illinois side. I just can't do it. The LendingTree.com poll in Mobile, Alabama. It's actually a great old stadium, Ladd's People or whatever it's called. Eastern Michigan plus 9.5 versus Liberty. This is one where Liberty's better than Eastern Michigan, but I actually think Eastern Michigan puts up a fight here and covers the 9.5. Jason, where are you?
I don't know. This is a tough one. Liberty can score points up.
Give
me Eastern Michigan and the 9.5. What do you got here?
Wow, surprise on that one, Jay. You've been on Liberty a few times this year.
I know.
So, I'm going to take the Eagles of Eastern Michigan as well. The Eagles lost 10 games. Last 10 games lost by more than 9 points just once. Plus, listen, when I was there in Michigan, I drove through lovely Ypsilanti, Michigan. It's a beautiful town. Give me Eastern Mich.
Isn't it Ipsy?
Whatever.
People get pissed. People get really pissed about that area.
They do. They do.
Yep. I'm already shooting myself in the foot. Oops.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So the next game, this game is the big one. This is the game that you are going to be at, the LA Bowl, the AKA Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, and that's the first two games were. The Cure Bowl is December 17th this weekend. LendingTree.com is the Saturday, the 18th. And the LA Bowl is this Saturday as well. Oregon State minus 7.5 at Utah State. Utah State, I've seen them play once this year. They were really good against San Diego State at the end of the year. I don't have a lot of faith in Pac-12 football, but there's this the time I saw them play a little bit, they got absolutely waxed by Wyoming, and I can't get that out of my head. So give me Oregon State. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, but also Utah State beat San Diego State 46-13.
Yeah,
I don't get this spread. Give me the 7 and a hook in Utah State. What do you got here?
Yeah, like Graham, you said, I'm going to be at the game. Like it's the Extra Points Podcast Network Company Christmas party there in the suite, too. South throwing the party. It's going to be a blast. I don't care who wins this game. I'm going over 67. That's my play on this. It's over 67. But the Aggies have scored 35 points or more 5 of the last 6 games. The Beavers played Hawaii, who is also a Mountain West team like Utah State. That game had 73 points in it. Like I said, I'll be there. I don't care who wins. I'm going with the over. But in case I needed to pick somebody in this game, I'm going to take Utah State with the points. We had Kerwin Williams on as a guest on Against All Odds a couple days ago. Utah State grad, played for the Cardinals in the San Fran. So give me Utah State maybe with the points here, but I love the over at 67.
All right, a game that there's no line yet, by the way, on the WMU, the Quick Lane Bowl, WMU Nevada. I don't know who's missing.
What a shame.
I don't know what's going on, so we're not going to do that one. But the Potato Bowl in Boise, Wyoming, minus is the Cody Tucker Bowl, -3 versus Kent State. I hate this game. I hate everything about this game. I can't figure out Wyoming football all year.
No kidding.
And then they lost 38-14 to Hawaii at the end of the year. Hawaii's not very good. Kent State is just I mean, I've seen Kent State play 3 or 4 times because I'm kind of weird. But I hate everything about this. But I'm not betting on this Wyoming team. Give me Kent State +3. Jason, where are you?
This should be the 1-800-GAMBLER Bowl.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why anyone would want to lay any money on this. But Kent State, spite bet, Wyoming. Give me Wyoming -3. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, this Wyoming team, Graham, you're right. It's so hard to figure out with the games that they've won, the games that they've lost, how they've gotten blown out, how they've blown out teams. It's weird. It makes no sense. But I'm going with your guys, Cody's Cowboys. Big game out of senior running back Xavier Valladay, leading rusher for the Cowboys. I'm taking Wyoming. I'll lay the points.
All right, next game I love, Birmingham Bowl, December 28th in Alabama. Houston +3 versus Auburn. And this is going to be one of those games where one team wants to be in the game and the other team doesn't. And I don't think Houston's a bad football team. In fact, I think they're a pretty good football team. Give me Houston +3 against Auburn. Jason, where are you?
I'm with you. In Alabama, give me Auburn. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, look, guys, you're right. Auburn gave all they had against Alabama. That might have been it for them. I don't think they care so much about this one. Graham, you're right. Houston's a tough team. Give me the Cougars.
All right, the Cheez-It Bowl, December 29th in Orlando. Another game I love. Iowa State -1.5 versus Clemson. And I know Iowa State's had some guys transfer out and some other things already. Clemson's cycled through their whole staff, for fuck's sake. I mean, and look, I don't know. To me, Iowa State is a better football team than Clemson this year. I know Iowa State was a little disappointing on the year, but it's only 1.5. Give me Iowa State. Jason, where are you?
You think Dabo's going to get this team up for the fucking Cheez-It Bowl?
I do not.
Give me Iowa State. Harry's preseason national champion. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, and you know what, guys? I've been on Cyclones all year. They let me down. Finished 4th in the Big 12. Clemson, I know that both teams have some players not playing, but Clemson finally, late in the season, found some offense. They'd scored 30 or more points in 5 straight games. I don't think Dabo loses this one. I'm going to take the Tigers.
Oh, boy.
And what coaching staff?
I just
like 2 dudes left.
This is remember, I know it's been a down season, no doubt about it for Clemson, but it's still Clemson. Iowa State been very disappointing in games this year. I'm taking Clemson. And
to Harry's, I mean, to that staff, they're all hired internally. Like, those guys are going to be looking to prove themselves. So those coordinators, there will be something.
Yeah, but are the players?
That's great.
The Cheez-It Bowl on December 29th.
So the Music City Bowl, December 30th. This is the prelude. This is the opening act to Michigan State in the Peach Bowl. Purdue +4.5 versus Tennessee, and Purdue's quarterback is actually coming back for another year. Tennessee's been okay at times. They've been better than I thought they'd be this year. But Purdue's a decent football team, and I think this is a pick 'em, and they're getting 4.5. So I'm gonna go with Purdue. Jason, where are you?
Yeah, I don't trust Tennessee whatsoever. So give me Purdue. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I'm on Purdue too. I think this line is like probably the fishiest line out there.
It's concerning. Yeah.
I mean, I think Purdue is a better team than Tennessee overall. Tennessee's losses have been real ugly. best team Tennessee beat maybe was, I guess, Kentucky. Meanwhile, Purdue beat Iowa badly, and Michigan State, both games by double digits. Give me the Boilermakers.
Yeah, no, I'm there. Okay. The game of most local interest, Peach Bowl, December 30th in Atlanta. Michigan State -1.5 versus Pitt. Kenny Pickett, we don't know if he's going to play. My guess is he doesn't. Kenneth Walker, we don't know if he's going to play. And I thought he probably would until the way Mel Tucker sounded the other day. And so I have no idea whether the best two players are going to play in this game. But I think losing your quarterback is a bigger deal than losing Walker. As good as Walker is, I just think so many other parts are connected to that. And I think it's more damning, especially if Michigan State gets Jaden Naylor back. So give me Michigan State minus the 1.5. Jason, where are you?
And also the Pitt offensive coordinator.
Yes.
Also left as well. Yeah, give me Michigan State minus 1.5. Still Peyton Thorne and Jaden Reed playing him. I just think they win. What do you got here?
Tough game. But this is going to be a fun game. But I'm going to lean a little bit here towards Pittsburgh. I know Michigan State played tough defensively in that snow game against Penn State, but before that, the defense had been awful for like 4 straight games. I love this Addison kid, wide receiver from Pittsburgh. He's a stud. I'm going to take the Panthers.
Okay. Las Vegas Bowl. That night, when you had your Skymint and you're all, you've watched Michigan State win or lose, you're stoned, you're sitting there by your TV. Arizona State +7 versus Wisconsin. Arizona State is not good. They're not good. The question is Wisconsin motivated to be in this game? Here's the thing. This game is not like the old Las Vegas Bowl. The Big Ten is touting this up. It replaced the Holiday Bowl. It's in the brand-new stadium. It's being touted like the final of the top-tier games for the Big Ten Bowl games like the Citrus and Outback. I think Wisconsin shows up for this game. I like them as 7-point favorites. I think they rout Arizona State. Jason, where are you?
If there's a man that can get their team up, it's Paul Chryst. Give me Arizona State plus 7. What do you got, Harry?
Living in Vegas for all those years, for a bunch of years in a row, I don't know what it was schedule-wise, but Wisconsin traveled to Las Vegas to play UNLV like 4 out of 8 years. And Wisconsin travel. You guys know better. You guys know, being Big Ten country, Wisconsin travels great. They bring everybody. They're going to have a ton of fans there. I think Herm Edwards is probably gone after this for Arizona State. I got more faith in the Badgers. I think they have a better overall defense. And I don't care. I don't think Arizona State really knows where their heads are going to be here in this game because I think Herm Edwards is probably going to be gone. I'm taking Wisconsin.
All right, the Arizona Bowl, Boise versus Central Michigan. Boise -8 in this game. I think CMU is been sneakily a really good story all this year. I think Boise's got better players, though. I'm going to take Boise even the -8. Jason, where are you?
I just think it's too heavy. The 8.5. Yeah, give me Central plus 8.5. What do you got here?
Jay, I'm with you. Look, Central's won 4 in a row, all by 12 points or more. Boise, decent season, not a great season, what we're accustomed to from them. And as far as I know, I'm giving a little Mac love here to Central Michigan and that Lou Nichols, who's their running back.
Yeah.
2,000 combined yards. I got to take the points here. Central Michigan's been too good lately.
All right, now back to the big games. We did the peach. We'll go to the orange now. Georgia on New Year's Eve, -7.5 versus Michigan. I have struggled with this, but as I've thought more and more, I think this is a pretty close competitive game, and I could be totally fucking wrong. But give me Michigan. I just think this. I think Georgia was a little exposed. I think offensively they're a little limited. I don't think they're going to run away from Michigan. I'm taking the Wolverines. Jason, where are you?
The hook. I hate the hook in this game. I'm telling you what. Give me Michigan plus the 7.5. What do you got here?
Yeah, me too. And I think you mentioned it last week, Jay, that when I mentioned, I think Michigan's pissed. I think they're pissed they got screwed out of the number 1 seed. I think they deserved it, but the committee, of course, doesn't want Alabama playing Georgia. They want that in the semifinals. They want that in the final. So this is the way they made it, so they can meet each other. But I just think Michigan is just played unbelievable. They did everything they needed to do. They rolled Ohio State, and it really wasn't that close of a score. And then they did what they had to do against Iowa, just steamrolled them. Defense looks great. Hutchinson's been awesome. The running game is amazing. And like you mentioned, Graham, a little bit exposed defensively for Georgia because now we can see that they are not indestructible. from what they did during the regular season and in that Alabama game. Alabama did whatever they wanted against them, which was very amazing considering the week before Alabama couldn't score against Auburn till the end. I'm taking Michigan. I'm telling you what, guys, I'm throwing money on the money line too. Ooh. And remember, I got the 80-1 ticket still.
Oh, yeah, for them to win the national title for Michigan?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, that's not going to happen, though, Harry. Sorry.
What? I don't know.
I know. It's just not going to happen.
80-1, it's pretty damn good price right now.
I usually root for Harry, but I can't.
Let the defense do their thing. Let the running game do their thing. Quarterbacks manage the game. I don't know. This Michigan team is rolling. I'm
going to tell you, if that happens, Harry, this podcast is going to become an hour therapy podcast for MSU fans because it will not be happy times around these parts if that happens. In fact, Michigan State fans may no longer care about football. They may just dismiss the sport altogether and just move on and focus on basketball and
the basketball team's looking good. You got that.
Rowing or something. All right, the Cotton Bowl, another semifinal. Cincinnati plus 13.5 versus Alabama. It's a lot of points for an Alabama team that's been inconsistent. Obviously, the last impression of Alabama is like, holy shit. Yep. And it's inside of 2 touchdowns. Both these hooks are what get me a little bit too, but I'm going to take Alabama here. Cincinnati it's kind of a spite bet because they screwed me so many times this year when they couldn't cover spreads. So give me Bama. Jason, where are you?
I'm with you. There's a little spite bet, but that's not driving me for this one. But Bama minus 13.5. What do you got, Harry?
Being partial here to Cincinnati because I also have tickets out there, a couple tickets on them at 25.
I love you, Harry.
But you're right though. I mean, look, we saw what Bama did last time against Georgia, so now and this is the thing. It doesn't. A lot of times in college this year, you think what you just saw is going to happen the next week, and it's the exact opposite. Alabama was very fortunate in numerous games this year. They were 21-point or more favorites against LSU, Auburn, Arkansas. They barely pulled all those out. They lost to a 4-loss A&M team. I'm taking the Bearcats and Fickle and plus it's a 13.5, and even a little money line on that as well.
Oi, yeah, no, it's all right.
And you know what? If it's Michigan Cincy in the finals, I love it, and I'm watching every second of it.
Oh, you'd be thrilled.
Yeah, with your pants off.
Yeah.
Sweet sodas for everybody.
Fiesta Bowl, January 1st, Glendale, Arizona. Notre Dame minus 2.5 versus Oklahoma State. This is the game I think Michigan State fans wanted, although I think they've come around on the Peach Bowl a little bit. This is an interesting game because I've watched enough Oklahoma State to think they're actually better than Notre Dame this year. And I don't trust Jack Cohn. Notre Dame's got this weird vibe going with the new coach. They're excited. I don't know. It's weird. I think like my head tells me Oklahoma State. My heart tells me Notre Dame. I've never been a smart bettor, so I'm taking the Irish here, minus 2.5. Where are you, Jason?
Oklahoma State's the better team, and I'm getting points. Give me Oklahoma
at home. I'm going to take Mike Gundy. I like this guy. I like the coach. I like the little number here. And, Notre Dame, new coach, every different situation here. Cohen, don't have a ton of confidence, like you said, in him either. I'm going to take Mike Gundy as Cowboys here, plus a 2.5.
All right, Citrus Bowl, Kentucky minus 3 against Iowa. Kentucky, first of all, if they don't win this game by minus 3, you fire the fucking coach because they get every 4- and 5-star recruit I've ever seen all the time. I mean, this isn't the first year they've done this. So there's no excuse for them not to cover this by 37 points. So give me the Wildcats by 3. And they're a 3-point favorite against Iowa. Jason, where are you?
Fuck Iowa to the moon for making me watch that Big Ten championship. Kiss my ass. Kentucky minus 3. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, I'm on Kentucky as well. Iowa really, really disappointing second half of the season. Don't have a ton of faith in the quarterback situation there with Petrus and everything. I'm taking Kentucky. I'll lay the 3 as well.
Yeah, I think we're all on Kentucky. Although, it's how
3 spite bets.
Although I say this, it's how Georgia looked against Kentucky when I watch that game that makes me sometimes think like, God, maybe Georgia's going to roll everybody. I don't know. I'm very confused right now, as you can see. All right, last college game, last bowl game that we're going to pick here. Rose Bowl, January 1st, Utah plus 6.5 against Ohio State. And Utah gets 0 credit. I mean, they've been outstanding. They rolled Oregon twice, who beat Ohio State. When they are a physical team, and those are the type of teams that bother Ohio State. Normally, I would say Ohio State's not going to be motivated. Take Utah. But I think Ohio State's out to prove something in this game. I think they're pissed off. I think they're the better team. It's inside of a touchdown. Give me Ohio State. Jason, where are you?
I love this number. Give me Ohio State. What do you got here?
Wow, I know. This is a tough thing. Like, does Ohio State care about this one? Does Utah State, they played great those 2 games against Oregon. Do they have anything left in the tank? I'm going to lean. You know what? It's very tough here. I know your guys' point and make valid point against taking the Buckeyes here, but I'm gonna still stick with the Utes here. I'm going to take the 6.5.
Is this music terrible? By the way,
No, it's great. It's perfect. You took Ohio State, so Ohio State for Harry.
Yeah.
No, Utah.
Utah. Sorry. All right. All right. It's always good to be on the opposite side of Harry. That never makes me feel good. Okay, 3 NFL games for the sake of our pick'em standings. We'll start Cardinals -13 at Lions. Short week for the Cardinals. Tough loss. There's a lot of COVID going around that makes you nervous about who might be missing from this game. I wouldn't bet any game in the NFL till you know who's playing late in the week, by the way, right now. I would just hold off till like Friday. But that said, the Lions have played people tough. I just think Kyler Murray and the Cardinals have way too much for the Lions inside of 2 touchdowns. Give me the Cardinals. Jason, where are you?
Oh, are we skipping the first 2? Okay, so
Yeah,
we're
we'll
doing
come back.
Cardinals-Lions.
Yeah.
Listen, I think 9 defensive backs for Detroit are questionable. So I know that Hopkins is out, but still, give me the Cardinals -13, and I should jump on that now. What do you got, Harry?
Yeah, Cardinals look amazing. 7-0 on the road this year. 6 of those 7 games, they scored 31 points or more. Make that 7 of them as they put up more than 30, at least 31 against Detroit and cover the number. Give me the Cards.
All right, Patriots +2.5 at the Colts. Colts have been outstanding, and but you know what? I like the Patriots. I just think they're, at the end of the day, they're going to be the better team. I trust their entire operation more than I do Carson Wentz. And so I am going to go Patriots +2.5, getting points on the road. Jason, where are you?
Bill Belichick getting points and Carson Wentz's ass. Give me the Patriots. What do you got here?
Wow, you know what, guys? I'm going to take the Colts here. I think they need the game a little bit. I think they need the game more. Wild card wise, New England has a 2-game lead in the East over Buffalo. Really 3 since they beat the Bills in Orchard Park a couple Monday nights ago. If the Colts can get it done, it's got to be by Jonathan Taylor on the ground. He's got 18 touchdowns. New England just 19th versus the run this year, and Wentz has to minimize the mistakes, obviously. Keep the game in control. Let Jonathan Taylor do his thing. Let the defense do their thing. Get the W here. Win by at least 3. I like the Colts by the 2.5 to snap the pass winning streak.
All right, last game, Titans -1.5 at Steelers. You never know 100% what Titans team you're going to get.
Why'd you put this game on?
I don't know. I hate the Steelers. We needed an extra game. That's not a great slate. Give me the Titans -1.5 at the Steelers. Jason, where are you?
Roethlisberger versus Tannehill. Ugh. I guess who's the home team?
Steelers.
Yeah, give me Pittsburgh. What do you got here?
Yeah, I agree. Listen, Graham, I agree with you. I can't stand the Steelers. They let me down last Thursday against the Vikings when I've been on the Vikings all year. Titans still lose the AFC South by 2 games. Like I said, Pitt needed that win last week against the Vikings. Didn't get it done. They were awful, god-awful in the first half. Pittsburgh -50 point differential this year. Tennessee +34. Give me the Titans. I think they get it done still. Even though Tannehill hasn't been that good this year at all, Titans get it done against Pittsburgh.
No, yeah. So that's why I put that on there. We want the wisdom of Harry. All right, Harry.
Well, ask him off the air.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, next time. It's a fair point. It's a really good point. All right, Harry, are you ready for our to judge our can't miss parlays?
Can't wait, man. Let's do it.
All right.
Do it.
Lead us off, Jason.
All right, Harry Gagnon. Let's go first to the Boca Raton Bowl. Western Kentucky versus Appalachian State. Michigan State fans saw Bailey Zappi when he played them. The kid can sling it, and he's also going for the Joe Burrow record of 60 touchdowns in a season. He has 57, and he's going to throw 5 touchdowns. Give me Western Kentucky -3. 83 degrees and some showers with wind gusts of 22 miles per hour. This weather brought to you by Dr. J-Mo. I have a cracked tooth, and he listens to the podcast, and I hope he'd do it for free. Northern Illinois versus Coastal Carolina in the Cure Bowl. The fuck is the Cure Bowl? Copy and pasted stat brought to you by HustleBelt.com. NIU's defense has given up at least one play of 30-plus yards in every game but one, the MAC championship game. Although, in that game, Kent State did have a 75-yard touchdown pass called back on a penalty. It also had 2 bigger runs of 24 and 26 yards. Worthless stat. Coastal Carolina beat UMass 53-3. Give me Coastal Carolina +10 and a hook, 83 and sunny in Orlando, Florida. And finally, the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl, which should be renamed the Harry Gagnon Bowl. Come on, Kimmel. Let's not be cheap next year. Get Harry a bowl game.
Let's do it.
at least against all odds. Utah State's games have gone over 67.5 points in just three, Harry, of 13 this season.
Yeah.
The Beavers and their opponents score an average of 59.9 points per game. That's 7.6 fewer than Saturday's total. 67 and a hook. Give me the under, Harry.
Okay.
All right, Harry, I got a bit of a problem this weekend.
Okay.
I like every Premier League game. Like, I'm in love with the Premier League lines this week. It's one of the best ever. So much it's going to be a disaster because I'm overdo it. But
that Leeds match last week was a push, right, for you?
Yeah. What happened to Leeds the other day? 7-0 against?
Right, that was a disaster. You had them when they lost by 1, right?
I did. Yes, that was a push.
Okay.
It was a push. Yep.
7-0 is a disaster, but you didn't have that, so.
So this weekend, though, a few matches I absolutely love. West Ham at home. West Ham lost today against Arsenal. They're not going to be happy. West Ham at home, -1.5 against a horrible Norwich team. -1.5. They need 2 goals. Yeah. West Ham will get that done. Truly believe that. I want to like Arsenal. I also do like Arsenal basically on the money line at home on the road against Leeds because Leeds is playing like shit. But I don't trust it as much as I like a couple other ones, so I'm not going to go with that one. Manchester United, -1 at home against Brighton. Again, you might push a worst-case scenario, Man U. Brighton's ass. I watched Brighton today. Brighton is a complete ass. Man U is going to cover that. They're going to win with a couple goals, absolutely for sure. And then the last one, Manchester City, because they're on the road, the line is just it's a goal and a half at Newcastle United. Newcastle United is ass. Take Man City -1.5 on the road at Newcastle United. So, Chelsea, Wolverhampton, there's some decent ones there. But Man City, Man United, and West Ham, that's my 3-team parlay.
Well, I will say that you've been on the riding against Norwich bandwagon, and it's been rocking.
It's been fruitful.
That's right. That team is brutal, no doubt about it. I don't know what their deal is, but it is brutal. Now, the other two I'll get to in a second. Now going over to Jason's parlay. Jay, just to give we're doing against all odds in a little bit for the weekend, and my Sharp Tank pick is going to be for the weekend your Western Kentucky pick. I love that on the money line. So I'm on you with Western Kentucky. Yeah, Zappy's been what's he got? 56 touchdowns as of right now. If he gets 4, he gets 60. So I'm on Western Kentucky. We just went over the Coastal Carolina game, minus the big number, minus the 10.5 here. Still, I'm going to take McCall over your guys' ex-Michigan State quarterback. And I know that I gave out the over 67 here. I'm not so sure about laying 1.5. But when we get back to the under here, I'm not so sure about laying the 1.5 in soccer, even though you're telling me Newcastle is bad. But they are home, so they're catching a goal and a half here. I don't know about that one. You're already laying the 1.5 in the West Ham game. I'm going to lean towards Jay's parlay here. I'm going to tell, and then by the way, when I see Jimmy, when I see him at the game, I'm going to tell him what you said, Jay. I'm going to say, let's get a Harry Gagnon bowl. So let's go with the. I'm going to take the over, but I'm going to go with you anyways, Jay, on the under, because what do I know about this game? I know nothing. I'm just going to the game and I want to see points.
He got it. Yeah. I can't believe I turned Harry on his, because he texted me that he's hammering the over. So
look, I'm only doing it because I hammered the over on Monday when we all went to the Suns Clippers game, and it was 0-0 with 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. I was already dead.
Harry, you are a beautiful man. We appreciate you. Enjoy the bowl game this week. We will talk to you soon.
See ya.
We'll have a blast. Enjoy. Let's hit something, guys. Take care. Thanks.
Harry Gagnon from the Against All Odds podcast, extrapoints.com and bestbetcorner.com. Fantastic stuff as always. I love the Premier League stuff this week. I'll try and tweet those out as we get closer. I love some of the midweek stuff too, but I don't want to do that when people don't have time to get to them. Not everybody can be watching it at 3 in the afternoon on a Wednesday and Thursday. Like some games tomorrow too. But good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate Colton coming on. Appreciate Harry. Thanks to Front 43 and Cask & Company. I'm telling you, these meal kits are a really cool thing. They do a great job for the holidays. You can order those at caskandcompany.com or give them a call there, or just stop by for lunch. I'm going tomorrow. Stop by to see a game. Great date night spot. And Skymint. They've got holiday specials through the holidays. Go to skymint.com, and you can see what they have on their calendar. So there are 12 days of holidays going on right now. Some outstanding stuff with Skymint. We will talk to you maybe even tomorrow night. I think Thursday night we're going to do our show, our next show. Twitter questions. We'll talk to you then. Couch in the Roof.